All right. So here's a little.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, get out of here. This is my video.
Thought we were doing this together.
All right, you can do it.
All right, yay.
All right, so a little help for starting out on the homework because I'm anticipating some difficulty. Swiss Dackets probably no.
They were completely confused.
Okay.
All right.
So the purpose said we had to achieve two things: the amount of salt, which is here.
All right, yeah,
Okay.
I'm talking.
Grams of salt, we need to know that. And then we also need to know the percentage. Now percentages are always, I think Mr. Swistek, you say this really well, how do percentages always work?
Part over total.
I don't know what that means.
Oh, the parts over the total. So if you decide that you have a total, that'll always be a bigger number than the part, or should be at the very least.
Gotcha. Okay, so what's our part for the percentage of salt?
I think that we want to know, if we want to know the percentage of salt, then the percentage will always be based on the same unit of measure.
Could we find the percentage of water?
We could find the percentage of water.
Do we need to?
We could. We could subtract them from 100 because there's only, in salt water, there's only two things.
Yeah, gotcha.
So the two parts to salt water, you might not know this, but the fact is that the two parts to salt water are salt and water.
I looked that up every time.
Okay. Wikipedia has a pretty good synopsis.
So if our part is mass of salt, our total would be mass of salt water?
Yeah, or salt and water.
Oh.
Either way. Are we good?
All right, so to figure these things out, let's look at this. Mass of salt is the same thing as this.
You know what? We forgot a unit on these.
Oh!
Because remember, we always want to use the measurement of stuff with the units. We kind of forgot that part.
So pounds?
Oh, this is science class. Grams.
Grams. Okay.
Mr. Voigt, could we use kilograms there too?
Could. It'd be a really small number, though.
Could we use milligrams?
That we should. We don't have a scale that measures in milligrams.
And it would probably be a really big number there too then. So, but it doesn't really matter which one of those things we use because the percentage should be the same.
Okay, mass of salt. That sounds like something I can measure, right? I can put salt on a scale. Done. Measured data table.
We could do that, however, we would never put a chemical on the scale because we probably would ruin the scale, or we might get the salt on places that are not the scale.
Oh, and I thought of something else too. At the end, when we're ready to measure that salt, it's gonna kind of be stuck in there.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And like to get it onto the scale, or even to get it onto a piece of paper, I'd really have to like scrape that, and I probably
Especially if you're a Voitician, because you're probably going to burn that salt.
yeah. Burning salt. Wow. Okay, so we would like to measure this, but we're gonna have to calculate this. So this is gonna be inside of something else.
Yeah, we're going to have to make a calculation because we're going to have to, if we're going to have the mass of this and the salt, what kind of calculation will we make, I wonder?
What's used for taking things away?
Oh, I don't remember. I bet you the kids know.
Okay.
Now, what the heck is this thing for?
Contact lens.
Oh,
Remember that question on the safety
it's like a
project?
monocle. It's like a
Do you
monocle.
wear contact lenses? That was the question.
I feel like Mr. Peanut.
So what happens, speaking of, how about popcorn? Peanuts and popcorn. Like what happens when you heat up popcorn a bunch up at the bottom? It gets too hot, it starts to...
Cracker Jack.
No.
So we would have worries that, especially once this goes, is that we're going to get some popping outside of the dish. So we'd want to pop this up on the top.
And then your data would end up all over the table.
It would. And we would not be happy with that at all. So,
How about mass of salt water? Can we measure that? Just pour the salt water right onto the scale?
we probably could. So if we had this and we had a scale, we'd just pour it right on top. Oh, that would be a bad idea. So we would probably want to calculate by, what was that again?
It's going to be
Away.
calculating.
It
taking away.
is. I know, it's weird.
Oh. And actually, the whole percentage itself, is that a calculation too?
It is, because remember we gotta do some division there, don't we?
Wow. Well, I hope that helps with calculations. We're going to leave measurements up to you.
Good deal. It's been your science minute. I like that. That's
Science
pretty good.
minute.
That's science minute.